Hello and welcome to the Pixel Street Podcast, episode 83, where each and every week we get together and talk about one of the things we love most. In Connor's case, it is steelbooks. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Joel Campos, and today I am joined by the man who has already played Half-Life VR. I'm just kidding, but he did pre-order 2 VR headsets to play it, John Hansen.
Oh, what? Why would I order 2?
That's the way you're supposed to play VR, isn't it? You use 2 screens.
Yeah, put one on my head and put the other one on my other head.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I just think it's funny because you're the most anti-VR person on this show, so it's just funny to think that you would buy 2 of them.
Yeah, it's a gimmick.
A gimmick indeed. All right, and also the man with the nicest collection of steelbooks on a single wall, Connor Kopp.
Probably not the nicest, but it's certainly up there. I'm pretty proud of it. I do like me some hardcover cases.
How long did that take? Like, I was curious. I wanted to ask, but I figured I'd save it. Like, how is that constructed?
So it's actually my wife works at a craft store, and I get mad discounts on craft supplies, and they're literally just black whiteboards, is all they are, with magnet tape, and then I just slap steelbooks to it.
That's pretty awesome because
it looks really awesome. Yeah, you should put up a picture of it on our social medias because it's really cool.
Yeah, I'll throw it on the Twitter and the Facebooks.
I think I was mainly impressed by the spacing of them all. It just looked so perfect.
So I didn't use a level or anything. It was just eyeballed the whole thing.
I don't think I have the patience for that. My girlfriend, on the other hand, she would take care of it.
Well, but to be honest with you, this is going to ruin the whole thing for you, but the middle one's crooked. I just happen to put the left side one up just to the right angle to make it look straight. You won't notice it unless I obviously just spoiled it for everybody. But yeah, I'll throw that up on the soch.
So those are all video game steelbooks, right?
Hell yeah, man! I only do the video game stuff because
how many are on the wall?
That die. Right now, I've got 15 per board. So that comes out to 45 up on the wall, and then I have I think 10 more that I need another board for.
So you got to buy 5 more steelbooks. I hear that Death Stranding. I'm just kidding. I have no idea.
Yeah, buddy, it comes with one, the collector's, and I have one on the way. I have the collector's edition on the way with the baby and everything. So.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Yes, sir. Nope.
All right, there you go. Just Velcro strap the baby to the wall too.
Yeah, we're not going to see Connor
strapped to me.
He's not going to be on the podcast anymore because he's going to be too busy playing Death Stranding for 80 plus hours.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
But moving on, this week we are actually going to be talking about our impressions of Pokemon Sword and Shield, the Jedi Fallen. Oh, sorry, and we're going to be reviewing Jedi Fallen Order. I haven't beaten it yet, but I don't know if Connor has. But we'll get to that in a bit. And we're going to be talking about Google Stadia reviews. And how mediocre they are. And we're going to predict the Game Awards winners because they just came out with the nominees today. But before we get to that, you can find the Pixel Street Podcast on most podcast platforms on Fridays, as well as on YouTube. You can now watch the show directly from our Facebook group by searching for Pixel Street Podcast over there. Let's just get into it. Let's get into some of these new releases here.
All right, so we all know that... Shenmue 3 is out today after people were so excited when they announced it back in, 2014? Is that when it was It was either 2014 or 2015.
I think it was 2015. Yeah, it was 2015 at the Sony E3 presser.
Yeah, and this is the game that people put $300 million into to back it, even though Sony was there hey, yeah, we got money into it. But hey, no, you guys should put money into it too.
Yeah, hey,
so
we got money into it, but we'd rather have your money into it because this seems like a gamble.
Well, yeah, if you can spend the people's money, isn't that the better way to go? It's not your money. Who cares?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make a quick mention. I saw a screenshot of the tutorial screen that tells you what the controls are.
Yeah, I saw this too.
Word for word, the exact quote on what the tutorial says is just mash the face buttons for the combat. That's all it says. And then it says try hitting the right trigger. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
All you get.
That's all you need, right? That's any video game should start out like that.
I mean, I guess if you want simplicity.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. I heard about it on a podcast today, but I did not see that myself on Twitter. But yeah, John, how are you just going to pass up the fact that Just Dance 2020 came out on Stadia today?
Because it already came out on everything else, and we talked about it last week.
Yeah, I know. I just think it's funny how, like, for those of you that don't know, Stadia technically released today, which is ridiculous, but this is the only game that is on that original Stadia list that is on this list, I think, which is so weird. Like, it's already out everywhere else, just like all the other games on it. I don't know why they would choose to leave this on here.
I don't know. That's just a weird website thing. But, yeah, they did, so yeah, the Stadia's out. We're going to talk about it a bit later. They did bring 10 more games to it as kind of a reactionary thing. Like I said, we'll get into that later. Besides that, there's not much coming out this week.
Yeah, there's the new Sea of Thieves expansion, Seabound Soul.
Is that free?
I do believe so. I think all of the
yeah.
content for Sea of Thieves is free.
Cool. Yeah, I know I've played some of the other, I guess, DLC, or expansions, I guess you could say, but I never really got too into the expansions. But I do love that game.
Yeah. One that I will mention here, much to John's chagrin here, is Episode 3 of Vader Immortal, that VR-only Star Wars story. I think it's an Oculus exclusive, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, all I hear about it is it's on Quest. I don't ever hear about it like right on just regular VR, so it must be an Oculus exclusive, I would guess.
That drops on the 21st, and the early reviews dropped today, actually, and they're saying that it's some of the best Star Wars gameplay out there, so might be worth looking into here if anybody has a VR.
Yeah, and since we started off with a bad game, we should probably end off things here with a bad game too. Deadly Premonitions Origins is coming to the Switch this Thursday.
There's a collector's edition. You can collect Deadly Premonition. I can't even make a joke about that.
What about Mountain Rescue Simulator?
I'm sorry, did you say my game of the year?
Is that Bear Grylls?
That's a real thing. I don't know. I'm clicking on it though.
Hold up.
I clicked
it.
I
gotta.
Yeah, I got. Oh nope, it's not. Okay.
Wait,
when the image is smaller, it kind of looks like Bear Grylls is on the cover.
Here's the description. When danger calls, it's down to you to become a lifesaver in Mountain Rescue Simulator. Now you and your team are in demand. Use your special vehicles such as helicopters, quad bikes, or Snowcat to rescue people. Take care of broken bones or rescue lost hikers. Find and rescue mountaineers and skiers. Yo, what is a Snowcat?
I think it's a snowmobile.
Can we just appreciate the fact though that helicopters, quad bikes were both listed as plural?
It's not.
And then Snowcat was singular?
A Snowcat, it almost I don't know how to describe this thing. There's so many different versions. If you're watching the podcast on YouTube, you can see it because I'm sharing my screen. But
okay, I've seen these things.
I don't think I've ever seen one of these in person, but
I haven't seen them in person. You see them in movies. I want to say Day After Tomorrow had them in it. I don't know. A lot of Arctic movies have them in it. So yeah, I've seen them in movies before.
It's got like tank tracks
simulator
on it.
Gameplay. All right, hold on. Let's get a quick glimpse of this gameplay. All right. The menu looks like, oh my god, this...
I'm excited.
Oh my god, these graphics look so bad.
I also love that it's a PlayStation 4 exclusive.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Dude, this
they gotta pay the big bucks for the exclusives with Microsoft hitting so hard.
Sony's making sure that they keep their exclusive games strong.
Also, I'm not sure why, but it looks like at all times in the bottom right of your screen are just your guy's two hands. They're not moving or anything. Just both of his hands are there. I don't know why they're there, but they're there.
That's awesome.
Right. Oh my god! All right.
All right. One more mention before we move on. because I'm pretty sure our buddy Josh is going to get us into playing this, but Sid Meier's Civilization 6 comes to PlayStation and Xbox this Friday.
Yeah, my GameShare buddy Loops is getting it, so
Shout out Loops.
I'll have it by association, but I don't know. I have it on PC and I barely play it, so I doubt I'll play it on Xbox.
I tried it on Switch. It was pretty cool there. So, I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Moving on, let's talk about some of the XO19 games that were announced last week. It was literally right after you guys recorded, right?
Yeah, it was the same day of, so we missed out on that stuff. So we're just going to run through it real quick this week. So Obsidian announced a new IP they're working on called Grounded, which is a survival game that kind of looked like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids combined with Minecraft.
I just want to know where they find the time.
Well, they said it was a much smaller team working on this. And you can tell by just like the graphical comparison if you compare it to Outer Worlds. Like, this is a much smaller team job being done, but it looks interesting. I don't think they announced a release date for it yet. I think they just said 2020. Rare also unveiled a new IP called Everwild. I missed the trailer on this. I don't know if you guys saw this at all. Do you know what it's about?
Yeah, I got to see the trailer for it. It looks very Journey-ish in the kind of art aesthetic, and it seemed to be very like nature-focused. There wasn't a lot there in terms of kind of what's happening in the game or story or anything like that. It was more of a artistic license than anything else, but graphics are gorgeous.
All right, cool. Don't Nod announced Tell Me Why. And every time I hear that title, I think of Tell Me Why Ain't Nothing But a Heartbreak.
Man, I can't wait to edit. I can't wait to edit and realize that there's no way I'm syncing all those up.
You're right.
You're absolutely awful. Right. But yeah, this is the guys that made Life is Strange and Life is Strange 2, and they announced probably the biggest news out of this, if you're a Life is Strange fan, is that all of the episodes for the game are coming out at the same time. So it's not a Life is Strange 2 situation where that game first came out in February and it still isn't completely out yet. Like, we're waiting on the last episode.
I never understood that.
Yeah, it's not a good business model, and I think it's one of the reasons why Telltale really went downhill. So I'm glad to see Don't Nod making changes in that respect. But this game, it looks like you play as a brother and sister, and I know people were making a big deal that the brother is transgender and everything. So
good representation.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I love Don't Nod storytelling and everything, so it's definitely something I'm gonna look into. We got a release date for Halo Reach for when that comes to the Master Chief Collection on December 3rd for both PC and Xbox. If you have Game Pass, you can set that up to install already, so that's pretty cool.
It's it's worth noting that the campaign, I think you have to pay $10 for, but the multiplayer is free with Game Pass.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, and then finally, just one that I kind of want to throw in there because it's surprising news and news that made me really happy. First, Yakuza and Kingdom Hearts 1.5, 2.5, and 2.8 are all coming to Xbox this next year. All of the three Yakuza games that are on PS4 are coming to Game Pass. But boy, am I happy to play Kingdom Hearts for like the 20th time.
I think it's worth mentioning for the Yakuza games that are coming over to Xbox, I think it's strictly the Kiwami games, which are remakes of some of the original titles. Song of Life, which I think is 6 or 7, as well as the new one, aren't announced as coming over at this time. It's just the first 3 Kiwami re-releases, which are kind of like remasters, but not quite.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I've never played Yakuza, but since they're coming to Game Pass, I'm probably going to give them a try. I watched The Completionist on YouTube, and he just recently ran through one of the Yakuza games, and he had a lot of high praise for it, so I'll probably give it a shot. And then, Connor, you want to tell me about a new Valve game that's
I would
not just a card game?
Absolutely. Valve is actually making another Half-Life, which is unprecedented, ground shaking, ridiculously insane information in 2019.
And it's a
However,
VR game.
it's not Half-Life 3. It is a VR game. It's Half-Life Alyx. We'll be getting more information on that in the near future here. I've got a date in front of me.
It was this Thursday, I know. We are recording this show a little early because of our schedule, so we're going to miss out on that, but I'm sure we'll run through it quick.
Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific time is when that's going to be dropped. So hopefully this paves the way for some new stuff. I'm a big Half-Life fan. I don't know if you guys have ever played them.
I have not.
I have not either.
This is also, it's significant to see this because aside from their card game effort, I really can't think of the last time that Valve has slapped their name on a game.
The last one was like Portal 2.
It's been forever. It's been a super long time. So hopefully this kind of gets us back into Valve making some quality hits.
Yeah, I don't know. That's going to be tough because like they're just so focused on Steam. I really want it to happen. I would kill for Left 4 Dead 3 or Portal 3 or just any new games from them in general. But man, it's just been so long and so many people have left that company that I just don't even know anymore. But we'll see what comes of this. Hopefully the announcement and everything this Thursday looks good and people are happy. But at the end of the day, it's a VR game. So we'll see.
We will see. And I think that wraps up our new releases.
Let's get into reviewing some good games this last week.
Tell me about the Pokemans, John.
Alright, so I played a ton of Pokemon Sword over the weekend. I got the double pack, so I also have Shield, but I'm giving that to my daughter, so I just really spent all of my time playing Sword, and I am 26 hours in right now. I completed the story and everything, and I actually just put in my review for the game on consume.com. That's KONSUME. Got the Mortal Kombat thing going on there. And I also made a video on my YouTube talking about my thoughts on the game. That's youtube.com/JohnJW92 or search RevX Shadows. And the game's really good. It's so there's been a ton of controversy surrounding it, and all with national decks being cut, and oh, why is this game $60 and this looks like a 3DS game and everything. Amid all those concerns, some of them are valid, not all of them, obviously. Like, the national dex isn't a big thing in my opinion. For the first time in a very long time, I played this Pokemon game looking at all these new Pokemon and thinking, wow, these are like good additions. So like I remember playing like X and Y and just like going through and be like, okay, that Pokemon doesn't look interesting. I don't care about this one. Every single area you go to here has a Pokemon that can make your party better and everything. I also love that they brought back the Pokemon walking around in the real world, and that they mixed in random encounters too, but this time a random encounter will let you know it's coming up if you want a random encounter or not. So you'll just be walking around and an exclamation point will pop up. If you just sit there or walk into it, okay, you fight it. Or if you don't want to get into a random encounter and waste your time, you can just run around it. I love that. Like my favorite thing with Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was the Pokemon walking around the world. It makes the game feel more populated. It actually feels like a Pokemon world and everything. And they brought that back brilliantly here, and I absolutely love it. Besides that, they added in this area called the Wild Area, which is just a huge area just dedicated to catching Pokemon. And there's always strong Pokemon there. I beat the game, and right now, like, areas that I was at before that were, like, level 10 or 15 are giving me level 60 Pokemon. And at, like, their original evolution stage. So it's just like, okay, level up once and they'll instantly evolve and everything. Lots of cool stuff there, though. This is where you can also get into the Dynamax raids, which is where you connect with 3 other people and take on a Dynamax Pokemon, which is the giant guys, and you defeat it, and then you can try and catch it. Nintendo, again, like we say this with every game that has internet connections, it's not great. I was having a lot of issues connecting with other people, and there were a lot of times that I had to go in with AI teammates, which is cool that Nintendo or that Game Freak thought, okay, if you can't find anyone, just here's an AI teammate that will help you. The problem with it is they just throw in a random Pokemon. So like multiple times I was getting Wobbuffet, and I don't know if you guys know, but that's the guy that's really good at like countering moves.
Right.
He's not good at attacking on his own. And like I would get like a Jolteon going up against a ground type, so like electric against ground does nothing. So he would just get destroyed right away. So any like tough match would just instantly be like, oh crap, I'm gonna lose this. And you can't run out of it once you join in. Like when you're joined in, you have to stay there until the Pokemon is defeated or your team is defeated. It goes either 10 rounds or if your Pokemon faint 4 times. So by that time you'll just like get thrown out. But yeah, you can't just decide like halfway through, oh, okay, we're not gonna win, I'm gonna leave. So that was a flip of a coin, but when it works and when you get a good team and everything, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. The wild area is probably one of my favorite things they've ever brought to the Pokemon game. I hope that going forward they can expand on it and make it a bigger thing and like just really bring more of that kind of thing to it. That being said, Dynamaxing in general isn't really an interesting component of the game. I don't think it was something that really replaces Mega Evolutions and Z moves, which have been the things from like X and Y and Sun and Moon, where like your Blastoise would evolve again and have like an extra pump on his back, or it would just like change up things, make them stronger and everything. This is doing the same thing here, but it's just making them big and it's making their moves very stale. Because whatever moves your guy has, say I have a fire Pokemon in there that knows 2 fire moves, a normal move, and a fighting move. Those 2 fire moves will be the same move when I Dynamax, because they only have 1 move set up for each type. So it's just kind of like, what's even the point of that? Like, I don't know. It's not great. It's cool that it affects the whole entire stadium that you're in and everything, and it affects Pokemon's like stats and everything. Like there's a lot of stuff in there, but at the end of the day, Dynamaxing is just not that good of a thing compared to what we've had in the past. In the end though, I gave Pokemon Sword and Shield an 8 out of 10 in my review, and I think it is one of the best Pokemon games made, even though there are some issues with it. But I really enjoyed it, and I don't think I'm done playing yet. Like I said, I've ran through the story already, and there's a little more in-game stuff you can do, like a battle tower where you can just keep fighting guys and getting like candies and everything to level up your Pokemon. So I'm going to keep playing it, I think. But yeah, that's what I think of it. Really good game. Doesn't deserve all the hate.
Good. You mean you didn't follow the advice of the guy on YouTube who like zoomed in on shadows and circled them with a red circle?
Oh my god, so many people I saw so many things of people like, oh, these trees look awful. I'm like, I don't even notice them because they're just trees. Who cares?
But also it's like, bro, you're playing Pokemon. Like,
yeah,
come on.
Too many people went into this game wanting like a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild kind of thing, something to take the series to new heights, and that's not what this is. This is just another Pokemon game. Yeah, that's disappointing in some aspects. Like, there are areas of the game where I'm like, okay, I feel like at moments I'm playing a 3DS game with like the animations and everything. It's all just like if you use tackle, it's just them like standing still and like moving forward a little bit. Like it doesn't actually like show contact or anything. Like I would have liked to see them make the battles more cinematic. And there's like a few moves that they do that with that it's like really impressive what they did, but it's like 5 or 6 moves in the entire game that they do that with. So yeah, it's
in terms of making it more like Breath of the Wild, like you were saying, I think eventually it will get there, the series, but I don't think it's going to be for a while. I think this is just another step towards something bigger and I guess better looking in general.
Yeah, I think after all the controversy here, I would assume that Game Freak finally starts looking at changing things up, because in my opinion, the last decade or so, they're playing too safe with the series. They know what works and they just keep going back to that. But we've seen that with Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed. After a while, that stuff gets old and we want to see something new. And you can't just keep putting out the same thing with minimal updates every time. Yeah, the region updates and the new Pokemon are awesome, but like I said with Dynamaxing, like that's the big thing this game was marketing. Like this was supposed to be like the game changer thing, and it's just not great.
Yeah, I've got a few questions regarding online stuff. So those raids, can you go in and do those with friends?
Yes.
Or is it okay?
Yeah. So the Switch has a new update recently where you can like go in and actually specifically invite your friends now. So I haven't tried it myself yet, but there is a thing in there that says like invite others, and then you can just go in and invite your friends.
Because I'm also curious if part of the problem in terms of you said you were having a lot of connectivity issues when doing those raids online. I wonder if part of it's just that other people have bad internet. So I wonder if you like tried playing, like I don't have the game, but theoretically, like if me and Connor wanted to do one with you, like we have pretty reliable internet because we game a lot. Mm-hmm. I wonder if that would help the experience or if it's just completely Nintendo's fault.
I want to believe that it's mostly other people's internet's fault, kind of like with Smash, but we've just seen too many times where it's Nintendo's fault for me to believe anything else. Like with Super Mario Maker 2, like they after all these years and everything, they're just still behind in the online area.
I also believe that part of it also is that it's a portable device as well as like a console if you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you're playing with a little kid who's in his room who like is super far from the router, or you know what I mean, like I could easily see that being part of the problem as well. So I don't know. I don't know what to chalk this up to. That's unfortunate.
It was too common to really like strike it up to other people's internet. I'll say that.
Yeah, I think Smash in particular was other people's internet because I would go in a game and it would work perfectly. Like nothing would be wrong, and then the next game, like I move like 2 steps and then stop for 3 seconds.
Yeah, I'm really glad that they fixed up some things in Smash, but that the first month or so was kind of rough online.
Another question regarding online: do they have Wonder Trading?
What is Wonder Trading?
So in the old ones on 3DS, you could essentially just like send one of your Pokemon, anyone you wanted, like, and it would just trade like blindly with somebody else online.
Yes, they have something like this, but it's called surprise trading. And I tried this out, and it's a complete fucking scam.
Dude, and that's why I love it, because I just catch all the fucking Ratatas, or Ratatats, however you want to say it, and I just send them all out to people, and then I get like a bunch of like Japanese Mewtwo's and shit. I'm like, oh, that dude's got to be pissed.
Yeah, no, I did it 3 times, twice in the early game where I was just like sending out like level 15 stuff, and I was getting about level 10, 12 around that area. So I'm like, oh, okay, so maybe they like kind of bracketed off to like be around the Pokemon that you're sending, because that would make sense. Like, hey, if I'm sending a level 20 thing out, let's put it between level 15 and 25 that you're getting back. That makes sense in my book. No, I tried it again later. I sent out a level 40 Pokemon and got like a level 10 one of the horse Pokemon that I already have and everything.
You see,
I'm like, okay,
that's me.
Not doing that shit again.
That's me that you traded with right there. I don't own the game, but that is me.
Yeah.
You best believe I'm just sending Diglett.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. It's so funny because then like it's like 1 out of 20 times you're like, this dude just set their legendary like on a gamble.
Mm-hmm.
And he just got
not
a fucking Diglett.
No, I do think though, after you beat the game, like I've spent so much time in the wild area, and so while you're in there, as time passes, the Pokemon change in the area. It's not always the same guys there. Like I'll go to one area, find a Drifloon, and then an hour later come back and it's filled with like bird Pokemon. And the weather also is continuously changing and everything. So I think if I really wanted to, I could just go in there and like catch a bunch of level 60 Pokemon, just like throw them out there in that, and just not really matter because there's just always more there that I could grab.
Gotcha. Yeah, so overall it seems like the game's pretty good. I mean, I was seeing all that stuff online and I was like, I mean, all of this stuff that I was seeing was all nitpicky. Like, I brought up the dude who posted, I think he posted on YouTube and Twitter some video of like the shadows, like, look, it's not even rendered. And like, or like another one of like, there's a dude way off in the distance. And he's like, look, he's not there. If I take one step forward, he pops up. It's like, dude, you're playing Pokemon.
Not only that, I think it's important to remember, especially with Nintendo, that kind of quality is never their focus. Like, you look at any game, even Breath of the Wild. Like, Breath of the Wild, one of the flagship greatest games of all time, realistically stacks up to everything else like crap when it comes to the graphical area. So that's a bullshit argument, and I don't believe in it.
I do believe that
you can play
Pokemon...
this game anywhere, so it's a trade-off.
Yeah, it's a portable game.
I do believe that Pokemon Sword and Shield was initially made to be on like 3DS, and then they changed it at some point.
I don't know. I think it's been too long for that excuse. I really think it's just Game Freak. They've had this formula that they've worked with for over 20 years now, and they just haven't left it yet.
In terms of the National Pokedex thing, I did notice that I saw online an article that some modder is actually modding in a bunch of the Pokemon that were excluded from the game.
So I saw that too, and I kind of dived into that rabbit hole a little bit, and it's all he's doing is bringing in some character models, but like none of the stats are there, none of the moves are there. It's all just generic movements, and like he's basically using the move models in the different movement animations of different Pokemon to overlap on this one, but literally just essentially changing his skin. So modding, yes. Incredibly lazy, also yes.
Gotcha. I mean, like, I could see that seems like a lot of work. Like, you would need a whole team behind that of people dedicated to modding it, which I don't see happening.
No.
It's almost like 890 Pokemon coding is a lot of work.
It's too much.
All right. John, any other words on Pokemon while we wrap it up?
If you're a Pokemon fan or a Switch fan, be sure to grab it. It's the best game you're going to get this holiday season. But I haven't played Luigi's Mansion 3 yet, I guess. So it's up there. It's going to... Oh, yeah. I guess I did see that with all that controversy and everything in the UK, it had like the third highest retail sales release ever. So it's doing pretty good. What do you know?
I think it came out as the #1 selling game on the Nintendo Switch.
Yes.
For like first couple weeks period or first week period.
Another question. Does Pokemon typically smell? Does he typically sell a lot higher in the UK? Or do you think it's just because of the region it's in?
I think the reason that you're seeing the UK results being talked about is those were the first ones to hit reporting, because they would have been put out earlier for that.
Yeah, we haven't heard the sales results of the other ones yet.
Yeah, I just don't think they've been calculated yet. So,
all right, that makes sense. But yeah, go buy Pokemon if you like Pokemon and/or the Switch. I think I'm getting it for Christmas, so I'm just gonna hold off myself.
Nice.
All right, Connor. Now's our time. I'll let you start off with the Jedi Fallen Order, I guess, review in progress. Have you beat the game?
I have not. So just
neither
to be clear, I have not beat the game. Out of curiosity, though, without giving away any spoilers or anything, what planet are you on?
I went back to one of the first planets. I think the second planet. I went back to it.
Zepho?
Yes, Zepho.
Okay. I've gone back to Kashyyyk for the second time, which is pretty significantly further in the game. And that's as much as I'll say on that. That being said, though, this game is blowing my fucking mind. It's so good. I'm in love with it. I think that the writing is very smart. The gameplay is good. It's certainly not without its issues, though.
Yeah, and I haven't really run into any of those issues I've been seeing online, but I mean that could just be me. I have seen I saw somebody post a video on Twitter today, like he was just like running and then he just fell through the map and died. Like
I haven't
right?
had that happen, but that sucks.
Yeah, that does suck. I did see like on PC, like if you enter a new space and you turn the camera to like pan around, it's super choppy the first time you turn around, like to reveal new things in a room, which that also sucks.
So what are you playing on? Are you playing on the Xbox One X or S?
I'm playing on the One X.
X? Okay, that's where I'm playing too, and I do have an external solid state drive that I have it installed on, so my load times are pretty fast, but I am encountering some of those issues as well. Some texture pop-ins, some really bad fuzzy textures at times, and I've even actually had the game lawnmower on me twice and completely crash.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and one of the times that it happened for me, I actually lost like a good 20 minutes worth of progress, which was incredibly frustrating, which brings me to my first gripe about the game, which is the lack of any kind of manual save.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of has a manual save, but you have to go to it.
It's like if you're familiar with the Soul series, you have meditation points, which are effectively a bonfire. At the bonfire, you can choose to rest. You can also upgrade your character, and if you rest, just like Soul series, it does respawn all the enemies back for you again, but obviously with the trade-off of giving your health back. Whenever you do that, though, it seems, or is it maybe just activating the point, that I guess auto saves you at that point.
Yeah,
but
it'll save it automatically as soon as you meditate.
It's pretty frustrating, and I think that you're going to run into it later, but once you get into some of the later planets, they really start spacing out those checkpoints, and it becomes pretty frustrating.
Well, when we were supposed to start recording the podcast, you guys were kind of waiting for me because I had just had a cutscene at a crucial point, and there was no save point. So I was trying to run around. I was looking. I didn't have a map at the time, which that probably tells you what part of the game I'm at. And so I didn't know. So I literally just have the game suspended on my Xbox, and I'm hoping when I wrap up this podcast, I can get back to it so I don't lose progress.
That's what I've had to been doing too, because like I said, without any kind of manual save or anything, you're really chancing it, to be honest, which is frustrating. And that's kind of along with that gripe. I think it is very frustrating that those save points are so spaced out and that those are the only points you can save at, because let's say you make a bunch of progress and then you die, you spawn back at your last checkpoint. And you essentially lose all that progress. And while you can go, much like the Soul series, and find the enemy that killed you and just damage them to get your XP back that you had lost, as well as it restores your life force and everything like that, I have had quite a few times where something stupid just causes me to die. Like my stim pack doesn't go off quite quick enough to heal me, and an enemy gets a final blow on me, or whatever the case may be. And I end up dying, and then I've got to trudge through all this friggin' progress again, which is the exact problem I'm having with the lack of a fast travel system. There is no quick travel, fast travel, anything. You land on a planet, your ass is walking to wherever you got to go to. You do open up shortcuts and whatnot along the way, which is pretty nice. But I don't know if you're struggling with it, Joel. Learning these maps is difficult.
Oh, and that's part of why you were waiting for me too, because I was looking for a save point, and then I realized like, oh well, I'm close enough to my ship, like I think I'm on the right path, and I could not figure out where the fuck to go. I was like, all right, if I go down this elevator, it should get me closer. Went down the elevator, nope. And then I looked at the map again. I was like, what? Where am I supposed to go? It made no sense.
Yeah, it's very difficult to follow, and even like the holo map's not great. The 3D map that BD1 can project, it's passable, I suppose, but I really don't use it, more for the fact that it's just frustrating than anything else. But not having that travel system, I understand why they made that choice, and I think once you get further into the game, that choice feels better because it's already forced you to learn the maps at that point, and you really start getting more knowledge of them and making it easier to get around. But for that first, 10, 12 hours or so, just stumbling around each planet, it is so hard to find your way around, which is a bummer. That being said, though, I want to kind of flip it and talk about some good stuff here, and feel free to chime in wherever. But man, this game is just incredibly satisfying in its combat loop. I think that it's got one of the best combat loops of a brawler style game that I've played in a long time.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I definitely see where people are getting the Dark Souls references in this game, in terms of like combat and stuff. But I just think that this is much more toned down than that.
I agree. I think it's a little more accessible.
That being said, I did change my difficulty down to the easiest setting.
Really?
Yeah, I was playing on the second from the hardest, which I think is it Jedi Master? I can't remember. I think so, yeah. And like I was able to get by, but it would take me a few times in some encounters. And then eventually I got to a point where I'm like, all right, I kind of just want to know the story, because I was listening to some reviews and people said play through this as fast as possible to avoid spoilers. So I definitely want to get through the story, but I'm sure this is something I'll go back to someday. And at that time, I'll probably take it at a harder difficulty.
Yeah, I think it's a game that definitely has some replay value, as there's a lot of secrets and things to be found, as well as areas to explore. I'm playing on not Padawan, which is the lowest, but the one right above that I think is Jedi Knight.
Yeah.
And it certainly has some very difficult moments. I would liken the combat a little bit more to a Sekiro than a Dark Souls, as I think it's that very parry heavy, fast movement style. And it's just very satisfying. Like you said, I think it is a little more accessible than the Souls games. People can find a way to enjoy it much, much more. I am real hot on this game so far. The story writing is very good. I was getting concerned there for a little while, and it's probably around the area you're in right now, where you've only met a couple characters. The story doesn't really seem to be going anywhere. You kind of feel like you're just looping back on the same stuff over and over again. But I will say a few hours from where you're at now, it does begin to open up, and it does really start to feel like it means something, and kind of the dots start getting connected. So my early impression on it, and I don't want to sit on it too long because I obviously haven't beat the game yet, but my early impression of it is I seriously think that this will be a Game of the Year contender for me. It's just a quality ass video game. Issues aside, problems aside, the game is that good. I honestly am probably enjoying this as much as I enjoyed God of War last year.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that this could possibly be my Game of the Year, and I haven't, I'm way behind you even. I just think that they do, like, I love Star Wars, and I think they do such a great job with, like, the sound design at making you feel like you're in that universe.
Yes.
Like, the music cues that come up, obviously, like, the blasters and lightsaber sounds, those are all pretty stock for that universe, but overall, everything, the design of buildings and stuff, they do such a good job. It's so good.
And it really accomplishes the power fantasy, too, of being a Jedi and having that lightsaber. Like, one clean hit from that blade, man, and you kill a stormtrooper. That's it. Like, you don't have to whack a dude 30 times in order to kill him. There are some more difficult enemies later in the game that obviously take more hits to beat, but the reasoning for that isn't that they just have a lot of health. It's that you have to break through their guard. They're trained enemies. They're more skilled, and it's just, I cannot wait. Literally, as soon as we're done with this podcast, I'm going and playing more. It's just so good.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's a great time to be a Star Wars fan because, you have this, and then you have Disney Plus that just came out last week with all the movies on there.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, Mandalorian. You have the new movie coming out in just a month here, so yeah, very exciting. Very exciting stuff. John, do you care about Star Wars at all?
Not really. I'm just not a Star Wars fan. It's not for me.
Yeah, I mean, this game I would recommend to somebody like you. Like, wait for like a huge sale on it to try it.
Yeah, probably will. Especially some. I get that it's probably not as much like it, but I keep hearing a lot of similarities to Dark Souls, and that just really pushes me away from it further.
You see, for me, I hate Dark Souls games. I tried Dark Souls and I could not fucking stand it. Yep. I quit. I tried for like 3 hours playing that game. I think I played Dark Souls 2. And it just wasn't clicking. I wasn't getting anywhere. I kept dying at the same guy. And I just gave up and never went back. But this is much, much easier. Trust me.
Yeah. I'll probably give it a try at some point. I love Respawn, so I want to support them in that way. It's just, I really wanted to focus on Pokemon, and yeah, not a big Star Wars fan.
I mean, it makes sense. It's not for everybody. Yeah. But yeah, great game so far. I'm sure me and Connor are going to have a lot to talk about next week. On next week's show about the Star in the Wars.
On episode 84 of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order podcast weekly.
All right, let's get into our topic of the show. You want to get into Stadia?
What are we? Okay, yeah, we're running a little late here, so
let's just briefly touch on Stadia.
Yeah, just really quick. Stadia released today, and earlier reviews came out a couple days ago, and the game, everyone kind of has this arousing consensus that this is an early beta version. Even though Google says it's a full release, we've already gone over all the features that have been cut on the things that were promised at the earlier unveilings in the year. There's 22 games on there right now. None of them are like amazing or anything. They're all just games that have been out for a year plus. Yeah, a lot of people saying that you should wait before purchasing this. And it's just kind of disappointing to hear. I kind of was hoping that Stadia would get off to a better start than this, but the last month or so, when they really started announcing like all these bad things, like there's a lot of things in here that just don't make sense to not be here at day one. This definitely should have been announced as an early access thing, or it should have been delayed for a while. It's not looking good at the moment.
All I'm going to say is, as an Xbox fan myself, it's seeming like xCloud is going to win this battle, at least initially. Because me and John have both played xCloud. Right, John, have you tried it yet?
I haven't tried it yet. I just got into the beta yesterday, but I've been busy writing and everything.
Gotcha.
But I plan on playing it tonight.
Okay, well, my initial impressions is that xCloud is pretty good. I mean, obviously there's latency there, as with any of these, but from videos I've seen of Stadia, the latency in xCloud is not nearly as bad.
Oh, yeah. I saw a video of a guy playing Destiny. He hit his spacebar to jump, and his guy didn't jump until like 2 seconds later.
I think I saw that. He hit spacebar, and then he turned and shrugged at the camera, and then his guy jumped.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious.
Not great. But the difference here is that xCloud is very much in beta. Like, they're very upfront about it. They're like, hey, like, this isn't a finished product. Like, this is just what we have so far. And it also has more than 50 games to play. Like, it's ridiculous just how much better xCloud is looking at the moment, at least.
The icing on the cake here, too, is that some reports have been coming out of some people that are looking to cancel their pre-order as they haven't received them yet. And Google is reportedly, we're still waiting on some corroboration here, but reportedly declining to refund pre-orders and cancel them, saying that they are not taking cancels, that it has to be canceled or changed or whatever within the first 60 minutes after the order's placed. So, that's coming from some of the guys over at Adam Sessler's latest company. It's an analytics company. I can't remember the name of it, but some pretty reputable people. So
that's not a good look. But
that's probably the worst look.
Yeah, yep. I'm sure we're gonna talk about it more, but early impressions not great.
Yeah, and like the amount of people I've seen on Twitter, they're like, "Yeah, I pre-ordered this the day they went live, and I haven't heard anything about where my pre-order is." It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, Google has not handled this well, but I think we should get into our topic of the show, which is Game Award nominees. Today, what's up?
Said let's go.
Oh yeah, so today Jeff Keighley announced all of the nominees, bunch of stuff in here. Before we get into this and start making our predictions, though, just kind of want to throw out there the rules and everything. We're going into this with what the nominees are, and it doesn't have to necessarily be what we want to win. It's going to be what we think will win. Okay? So this is, you have to kind of think.
Does somebody want to start a new Google Doc keeping track?
Ooh, yeah, that would be good. Connor, can you get on that?
I can do that.
All right. Just like keep track of our...
yeah, we're going to see who wins.
Yeah, keep track of our predictions and see who gets the most right. But so also, I wanted to throw out how these games are chosen. So nominees for most categories of the Game Awards are chosen by an international jury of over 80 global media and influencer outlets selected for the history of critical evaluation of video games. So this isn't Jeff Keighley selecting things, because there's a lot of Death Stranding on here. But he throws it out to big companies out there. Just looking at some of them on here: Game Informer, Funhouse, Kinda Funny, Game Ranks, IGN, PC Gamer, like just tons and tons. There's Kotaku in the UK. There's a lot of like big name companies in here, so it looks like just they poll people, see like, hey, in all of these categories, which titles would you like to see? I've been hearing that Pokemon and Star Wars are eligible for this year's Game Awards, but they did not get review codes out fast enough, so they are not in here.
Yeah, that's a weird situation, but I get it. But also, what I'm reading online is that they're also ineligible for next year.
Yeah, because they're already out.
Well, because the cutoff date is November 15th, and they came out on that day, which is so weird to me.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
It is what it is. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I don't think either of them... There's a lot of big games coming out next year, so I don't really think it's that big of a deal. But, so yeah, let's just get right into this. I'm going to start at the bottom and work our way to the top.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So for the best VR game, or VR/AR games, for the best game experience playable in virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platform. All right, so we've got Asgard's Wrath, Blood and Truth, Beat Saber, No Man's Sky, or Trover Saves the Universe. Connor, what do you think wins there?
Man, looking at these, it's kind of tough to nail it down, as there's a couple really good ones. I was real hot on Blood and Truth, but I'm going to give it to Beat Saber. I think Beat Saber's got it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's a way Beat Saber loses this one. It's been the talk of VR for too long, I think.
Yeah, it's just a household name at this point. Like, that is the VR game when people are thinking of buying a headset.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's all of us saying Beat Saber. All right, best strategy game. The best game focused on real-time or turn-based strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. So this is Age of Wonders Planetfall, Anno 1800, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Total War Three Kingdoms, Tropico 6, or Wargroove. Joel, how about we'll start with you here?
So strategy game, probably Fire Emblem.
Even
though I've never played it. But
yeah,
I know
a lot of good things I heard about that. Yeah. Connor, what do you think?
We know Connor's answer.
I want to see.
I don't know, man. This is actually real tough for me, because I think Wargroove was incredible and did some real cool stuff to the genre. Fire Emblem I thought was incredible, though, too. So, best game focused on real-time or turn-based strategy gameplay, irrespective. Yeah, damn it. I'm going to give it to Fire Emblem. Wargroove is so close for me, though.
Yeah, I do think it is between Wargroove and Fire Emblem.
I do, too. Just to be different, though, I'm going to say Wargroove. I played that, and I really enjoyed it. Like, I'm a guy that's not naturally into those kind of games, and it really got me. So I'll give that one just a slight little edge. We'll say Fire Emblem kind of got shafted from this year's Game Awards. They're missing out on a lot of stuff here that they should have been... that people are arguing that they should have been in on. All right, next up, sports and racing game. For the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing game, we got Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, Dirt Rally 2.0, Football Pro Evolution Soccer 2020, oh boy, F1 2019 or FIFA 20? Connor, hit me up. What you got?
Man, this is really not a great crop of
No,
video
it's
games.
not. It is
No.
not.
I'm
I
gonna give it
love,
to Crash.
yeah, I love that it's 4 realistic sports games and then Crash.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with FIFA.
All right. Yeah,
Just
no,
because
that
it's
makes
probably
sense.
one of the most highest sold games in the world.
Yeah, there could be a lot of votes in because this is all fan votes. Man, I want to say Crash, but I think people focused on the sports area are going to go FIFA as well. It's just that's too big of a market. All right.
Connor,
Split
mark them
vote.
down.
Yeah, I've got it.
All right, best score in music for outstanding music inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack. We got Cadence of Hyrule, Death Stranding, Devil May Cry 5, Kingdom Hearts 3, or Sayonara Wild Hearts. What you got, Joel?
Well, of these 5 lovely games, I've only played one of them, and that was for about 10 minutes, and it was Sayonara Wild Hearts, and I thought the music was real dope. So I think that could possibly win. I don't see Death Stranding winning this, but because of all the reviews I've heard of the game, I haven't heard anybody talk about the music.
Yeah,
other than
me
one,
too.
like,
I always
Church's
thought
song.
I thought that this was a weird inclusion because I have not heard anyone talk about the music for this game.
Yeah, aside, like I said, from that Church's song that everybody, like, I've heard on the radio and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Connor, what you got?
I'm gonna go ahead and directly contradict that and say Death Stranding takes it home. It's honestly a battle between Cadence of Hyrule and Death Stranding. I'm gonna say Death Stranding takes it. I've actually been listening to the official soundtrack, and it's got some bangers on it. It's real good. But furthermore than that, I think that the implications for the game industry are much more pronounced with Death Stranding. Is there was the whole Sony Music Records deal and everything like that there. So I think that that one takes it for me.
All right. I'm going with Cadence of Hyrule. I really wanted to say Kingdom Hearts 3, but compared to the rest of the series, that game's music just isn't up to snuff. And Cadence of Hyrule, man, I am just such a sucker for Legend of Zelda music, and this is just a whole new take on that. It's more electronic and everything. I really enjoy everything that Cadence of Hyrule did. All right, next up, best role-playing game. For the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. So here we have Disco Elysium. I haven't even heard of that one. Final Fantasy 14, Kingdom Hearts 3, Monster Hunter World Iceborne, or The Outer Worlds. What you got, Connor?
Outer Worlds, hands down. I think it's the breakout hit of the year, and I think it's a surefire win here.
Could not agree more. I think it's Outer Worlds by a lot. Final Fantasy and Monster Hunter have been out for a while now, and I just don't like when they include expansions into these kind of things. And Kingdom Hearts 3, like I said, I love the game. I 100%ed it, but Outer Worlds is on another level, and Kingdom Hearts just was kind of disappointing. What about you, Joel?
I'm definitely going with Outer Worlds as well. I agree with the DLC thing, like the Iceborne one, and I think Final Fantasy 14. The only reason it's here is because of a big DLC, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that Shadowbringers or whatever they talked about at E3.
Yeah, I can't remember, but yeah, there's that. And then Disco Elysium, I just heard about it today, and apparently GameSpot gave it a 10.
All right, yeah, I can't say that I've ever heard of it. It's something I'll have to look into. Next up, Best Performance, awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion, and or performance capture. So quite a few in here. We got Ashley Birch as Parvati Holcomb from The Outer Worlds, Courtney Hope as Jessie Faden from Control, Laura Bailey as Kate Diaz from Gears 5, Mads Mikkelsen as Cliff from Death Stranding, Matthew Porretta as Dr. Casper Darling from Control, or Norman Reedus as Sam Porter Bridges from Death Stranding. Joel, what you got?
I think this is going to go to Norman Reedus because he's probably going to be there. If I'm being perfectly honest.
You know, I don't think there's any way Norman Reedus wins. Everything I've been hearing is that
he doesn't talk.
Yeah, he's just there. And when I think of this, Control and Gears 5 had great voice acting. I love Courtney Hope. I love Laura Bailey. Matthew Peretta did a great job as Dr. Casper. But to me, this has to be Ashley Birch. Parvati was my favorite character in the Outer Worlds and just really drove me to keep playing that game. I loved her. I never took her out of my party. I always wanted to see what she had to say in every situation. Just an excellent character, great writing, great voice acting. It was just a character I really cared for, and I don't think anyone else can win. What you think, Connor?
Yeah, I think you're nuts. It definitely is Matthew Peretta's portrayal of Dr. Casper Darling in Control. He literally breathed so much life into that game and was one of the reasons that game sang as loud as it did. I mean, Courtney Hope's performance as Jesse Faden was great, but Matthew Peretta really tied everything together, and he not only did that, but made it presented in a funny, entertaining package at the same time. He just embodied that character, and I thought it was great. I think that one's a clear answer for me.
I think he's my number 2 for that. Like you said, he just did so much for that game. All right, best ongoing game. Awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. So we got Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, or Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. What you got, Connor?
Man, this is painful. The one I think is going to win is Fortnite because of the whole Season 10 rollover stuff with the black hole, which was really awesome. But I think that the deserving winner here is Destiny 2, as the Shadowkeep DLC was just some of the best content that's come to that game to date. So I'm going to say Fortnite, but it should be Destiny.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I think Fortnite wins, and I want Apex Legends to win because I thought they started out so good with that. But I think what really kills them here is that big that 2-month gap where there just wasn't any updates for the game and everyone was kind of getting tired of it, and then also like the Iron Crown event controversy and everything. I think that really hurts them here, even though I still love that game. It's probably my favorite battle royale game. So yeah, I think Fortnite wins, and I don't think it's close.
Yeah, I agree. Fortnite for sure.
All right. Best narrative for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. A Plague Tale: Innocence, Control, Death Stranding, Disco Elysium, or The Outer Worlds. Joel?
I've only played one of these games and I haven't even beat it, so going out on a whim, I'm going to say either A Plague Tale or Control.
Ooh, man. Connor, you go ahead, because this is a really tough one for me.
Yeah, I'm really struggling here. I personally think the contenders in this one have to be Control or Outer Worlds. I didn't play a Plague Tale: Innocence, and from what I understand, it was a very, very good game. I know you played it, and I'm sure you have something to say on it. But for me, it's definitely between Control and Outer Worlds. In reading the description here, outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. For me, I think that the world building in Control was much better. But I think that the public will lean towards Outer Worlds just being the breakout hit that it is. So I'm going to pick Outer Worlds here.
Yeah, I absolutely loved A Plague Tale: Innocence. Since we're going off of what we think the fans will vote, I don't think that wins here. I think it's too small of a game to have a chance, especially against these other games. To me, it's got to be between Control or Outer Worlds as well. And man, best narrative. You know, I keep saying how much I love the writing in Outer Worlds, so I gotta give the edge just barely to that, because that whole like kind of thriller-like atmosphere and Control was just so amazing. But Outer Worlds just had a little more. It had a bigger world to talk about, and it was just more compelling to go through, I think. Really, really tough decision here, but I'm gonna give the edge to Outer Worlds. Joel, right. Did I ask you yet?
Yeah, I started. I said either A Plague Tale or Control, but I have no idea.
Yeah. All right. So, okay. Best multiplayer game. For outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre or platform. So we got Apex Legends, Borderlands 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Tetris 99, or Tom Clancy's The Division 2. Hit me up, Connor.
Apex, definitely. I don't even think it's like, I love Call of Duty. Call of Duty's great. The matchmaking sucks every year, and it sucked this year. Apex is so flawlessly put together. If it doesn't win this, I'm gonna be pissed.
All right, Joel, what you got?
Yeah, I also think Apex, because like even from day one, like it all worked very well. So
just smooth, clean networking, man.
Yep, I'm going.
You guys are talking about a multiplayer battle royale that works at all times, and you don't mention Tetris 99.
Oh, this guy,
my boys. This is the best multiplayer game of 2019.
No, come on.
I'm calling it upset winner Tetris 99. You heard it here first, folks.
I mean, I hate Tetris video games, so.
Nah, I really think Tetris 99 has a shot. Apex Legends, I think, is probably the favorite to win here. But, like I said, with the controversy around the Iron Crown event and that just lull there, I think Tetris 99 has a little more goodwill with the fans going in. Borderlands 3 is kind of also a dark horse here. They have very loyal fans, and they could bring in some votes here. Call of Duty, from a multiplayer standpoint, it's not up there. And Division 2 just disappeared after it released, so I don't think there's any way that one wins. All right, best mobile game. For the best game playable on a dedicated mobile device, we've got Call of Duty Mobile, Grindstone, Sayonara Wild Hearts, Sky Children of Light, or What the Golf. What you got, Joel?
For this, I'm going to go Call of Duty Mobile, just because I feel like that is the most marketable out of all these. So I feel like most people played it, and I know a lot of people have really good impressions from the game.
Yeah, I think Call of Duty Mobile wins as well. It's just everyone knows Call of Duty. The gaming community isn't really in the mobile games quite yet, so a lot of these,
and I know at least 3 of them are Apple Arcade games, so that's already like half of the. I don't know about Sky Children of Light, but like if you think about it, they're limiting their player base right there.
Yeah, they'll be stealing votes from each other. Okay. Yeah, I hadn't heard of 3 of these. I've heard of What the Golf and Call of Duty Mobile, but Call of Duty is just such a bigger thing that I think there's no way that thing doesn't win. What about you, Connor?
Yeah, I think Call of Duty is the clean pick here. It's just got a much broader appeal. I will say that the reviews for What the Golf have been incredible. As well as I watched some gameplay and playthrough of that, and it's hilarious.
Oh,
that
it's
game
great.
looks like a blast. So
it's really cool. That and Grindstone is also a great game as well.
Man, that's kind of a bummer that they're Apple Arcade games, you know. So, yeah, Call of Duty Mobile.
Okay. Best independent game. For outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system, we got Baba Is You, Disco Elysium, Katana Zero, Outer Wilds, or Untitled Goose Game. Connor?
This one is a tough category, man. Baba Is You, if you guys haven't played it, is friggin' awesome. Some of the best puzzle gaming you've ever played. Outer Wilds, not to be confused with Outer Worlds, was another breakout hit of the year that just kind of took everything by storm. Very, very well designed. It was originally built up from a college project and morphed into something else, and it's on Game Pass, which opens the appeal up. Really, really good game. And then I really don't have to talk about Untitled Goose Game. Is that game literally just took the internet over for like 2 weeks, which was ridiculous. As far as what I think's gonna win this, I think it's gonna be a real close one between Goose Game and Outer Wilds. But I'm going to give it to Outer Wilds simply because I think more gamers are going to vote on this stuff than casual gamers. And that's going to be the crowd here is Outer Wilds.
All right.
I think that Untitled Goose Game is going to take it just because for the meme factor of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's just way too popular of a name. Like, everybody knows it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm pretty sure my 7-year-old niece knows what it is just from seeing it online.
But is your 7-year-old niece voting? That's the question, Joel. Trick question, she's not old enough.
I mean, it doesn't matter though. Like, I'm just making a reference that so many people know about it. So
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people that haven't heard of Outer Wilds, or they'll be thinking it's Outer Worlds.
do you know how many shit posters there are on the internet? Those are the people voting for this game.
Yeah.
They're just undercover geese.
I also want to give a shout out to Katana Zero. That game was really well put together and everything. There's no way that it beats the two games you guys are talking about, but I think Untitled Goose Game wins as well. It's just too popular. Outer Wilds was a big thing around E3, and then I think it kind of disappeared. So, and Untitled Goose Game is like the newest thing on here that people are really gonna gravitate towards. So I think the Goose wins again. Games for Impact, for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. So we got Concrete Genie, Grease, I think is how you pronounce it, Kind Words, Life is Strange 2, or Sea of Solitude. What you got, Connor?
I think it's pronounced Gris, actually.
I've heard it both ways all the time.
The nitpicky guy, but out of these, I'm gonna have to give it to. I'm going to give it to Gris. I think Gris takes this one home. That one I've just seen a lot more buzz around, and it seems to be much better received than anything else here.
Yeah, I agree with Connor, because while Sea of Solitude seems like a really cool game, I heard a lot more about Gris, I don't know, than I did about any of these other games. Especially, like, it's surprising me that Life is Strange 2 is here, and I don't even think it's all the way out yet.
It's not. But it's got 4 episodes out. There's no way it wins though. Like it's yeah, I don't think there's any way Life is Strange 2 wins. I still want to play Sea of Solitude. That was a game that when they announced it at last year's E3 that I was like, oh man, this looks awesome. It's definitely something I'm interested in. I just haven't gotten around to giving it a try. But I don't think there's any way that Grease, Grass, whatever. I don't think there's any way that one doesn't win. Out of these ones, that's the one I've heard of the most. Best Game Direction. Awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design, we got Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, or Outer Wilds. Joel, what you got?
I'm going to go with Control for this one. While Resident Evil 2 I think looked really cool, I never played the remaster, but I can recognize that they changed a lot in it. So I think that the game direction design is pretty cool. And I think that Control just looks way cooler. And from what I've been hearing from everybody is that there's so many things within the game that make it really feel like you're in this kind of sci-fi space.
Mm-hmm. Connor, what about you?
I'm definitely going with Control. I'm super hot on that game. That one is definitely top 3 for me this year so far. And I think the game direction was just so well put together. The world building is great. And when you talk about original narratives here, you have 4 contenders here, as Resident Evil 2 obviously released years and years ago. And you're talking Control, Death Stranding, Sekiro, Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds is an indie game. I don't think it's got the backing for it. Sekiro, while it's popular, it's just another Soulsborne game. Death Stranding failed to be what it was trying to be by all accounts, and Control hit all of its notes quite perfectly. So Control's the shoe in here.
I want Control to win this so bad because it is one of my favorite games of the year, and I think the game direction was outstanding. Shout out to Resident Evil 2 though. When I played that during spooky streams, I absolutely fell in love with it. That's a game that I very much need to pick up and play all the way through. It was great. Like you said, Outer Wilds doesn't really have a chance, and Sekiro is just another Soulsborne. I think Death Stranding wins because it's Kojima's first game since leaving Konami, and it's not fair or anything. I think Control should win, and I want them to win, but I think Death Stranding will pull this one out just because of the fans and Kojima. All right. Fresh indie game. Recognizing a new independent studio that released its first game in 2019.
I think you left out the presented by Subway part there,
Johnny. Yep, presented by Subway.
Hashtag
Eat fresh. Hashtag pay us, Subway. All right, so we got ZA/UM. It's ZA/UM for Disco Elysium. Nomada Studio for Greece. Dead Toast Entertainment for My Friend Pedro, Mobius Digital for Outer Wilds, Mega Crit for Slay the Spire, or House House for Untitled Goose Game. This one's a little tougher, I think. What you got, Joel?
Yeah, I think this is tough as well. Going out on a whim. Oh man. Maybe Dead Toast Entertainment, because I know that game. I think it looks really cool, and I know a lot of people played it. So either that or Nomada Studio. Let's go with Nomada Studio, because I think that's the most well known out of these. That's not Goose Game, I guess.
All right, Connor?
Give me the Goose, man. It's House House for sure. Breakout hit.
All right. This one, man, this is so tough. I really think, I don't know anything about Disco Elysium, but all these other games I think have a chance at winning. Like that, I heard nothing but good things about Outer Wilds and Slay the Spire, of course, Untitled Goose Game, Grease,
it's
and
been a killer year for indie games, man.
It has been. Like, literally, I think any game on here is deserving to win. Ah, man, I'm just going to go with Outer Wilds, because while everyone was talking about these other games a lot when they first came out, Outer Wilds was the only one that I heard of people referring to as their game of the year. And so from this selection, I think Outer Wilds will pull it out.
All right.
Best fighting game. For the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat. Dead or Alive 6. I completely forgot that came out. Jump Force, Mortal Kombat 11, Samurai Showdown, or Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Joel?
So I wish that Smash Bros. Would win it, but at this point I feel like it was so long ago, and I feel like hype for it has died down. That I think Mortal Kombat 11 is actually going to win this. Those other three fighting games, I don't think stand a chance.
No, they don't stand a chance at all. Connor?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with that take. Smash is obviously Smash, and it's always popular. Dead or Alive 6 is just not as big as most of the other titles on here. Sam Show, again, not very big. Jump Force, while solid, didn't really take off on the pro circuit. So it's really between MK11 and Super Smash, and I agree. I think Mortal Kombat's just fresher in memory.
I'm going with Smash for reasons that we will get into later, but I just think it's a special game, and I think that really pushes it forward. There's always the chance Mortal Kombat 11 wins. Like you guys said, this is a race between those two, and I think like if we saw the voting, like it would be like one or the other winning by like just a few percentage points or something. It's going to be so close. All right, this next category they should just call the best Nintendo game, but for other reasons they are calling it best family game. For the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform. That's funny. All of these are Switch games. Luigi's Mansion 3, Ring Fit Adventure, Super Mario Maker 2, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, or Yoshi's Crafted World. Connor?
Man, this one for me is kind of a difficult one, but I think what should win is Yoshi's Crafted World. If you haven't played that game, it is just joyous awesomeness nonstop. But I'm gonna have to give it to Luigi's Mansion 3. It's just super fresh, super popular, and by all accounts, super good.
Joel?
Yeah, I agree. I think Luigi's Mansion 3 takes it. While Smash Bros. Is cool and everything, I think that's just too complex. Like if you have younger kids, to get them to be able to play.
Yeah, I don't think Smash is much of a family game, so I don't think it wins here. But I'm going to go with Super Mario Maker 2. That game came out and it instantly became one of my favorite games of the year. And I think just the whole building up Mario levels and just playing whatever. It's got endless amount of content that you could just play new stages forever. I think that game will win, but Luigi's Mansion 3 definitely has a shot here. Shout out to Ring Fit Adventure, though, for making it on there, even though I don't think it's a family game. But still, great job.
You mean you don't like watching your dad sweat?
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
All right. Best esports team. Recognizing an individual esports team judged the most outstanding for performance and conduct in 2019. This one's... Out of all the... Okay, so we got Astralis, who play CSGO, G2 Esports, that play League of Legends, OG that plays Dota 2, the San Francisco Shock that play Overwatch, or Team Liquid that play CSGO. And I'm just going to start out and say San Francisco Shock because I don't watch esports and I know the Shock won the Overwatch finals.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, San Francisco Shock. I think that Overwatch is probably the biggest, I mean, at least in the U.S., I think is the biggest esports league. But I don't know. I'm very ignorant to all this. I don't know much about esports.
I am a huge esports fan, so I'll chime in and say I think Astralis takes it, as their run this year in CSGO has been quite dominant.
All right. Going off that, best esports player. The esports player judged to be the most outstanding for performance and conduct in 2019. You got Kyle Buga Giersdorf. What a name. Lee Faker Sang Hyok. Luka Perkovic. Alexander Simple with a 1 Kosteleaf. Or Jay Sinatra Wan. I think it's Buga because he's just the big talk right now, being the 16-year-old that won a Fortnite championship. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I was going to go Booga as well. Because I think out of all these, I think Booga and Sinatra are the most commonly, I guess, talked about names. But Booga is clearly the bigger out of anybody on here.
Listen, man, he's 15 and he won like $2 million playing Fortnite. If it's not Booga, why are we even talking about this?
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering why we're even talking about it anyway. Let's move on. Best esports host. The best host or commentator of esports events, both in venue and or broadcast in 2019, irrespective of game or language. We got Eve J. Soaks Deport.
Just give me the nicknames, my man.
Yeah, this is, wow. We got The Machine, Red Eye, Golden Boy, or Candace. And
Golden
this is
Boy.
Golden Boy.
It's
Golden Boy's
Alex
the man.
Mendez, man. Golden Boy's the best.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
He wins. Best esports game of the year. For the game that has delivered the best overall esports experience to players, inclusive of tournaments, community support, and content updates, irrespective of genre or platform. Got CSGO, Dota 2, Fortnite, League of Legends, or Overwatch. What you got, Joel?
Fortnite.
Connor?
Fortnite.
Yeah, it's Fortnite. Wish something else would win here. Not Overwatch. That one is gonna come in last here. But of those other ones, I hope something pulls it out. But what's gonna beat Fortnite? Best esports event, recognizing a singular event across single or multiple days that delivered a best-of-class experience for participants, in-person fans, and the broadcast audience. 2019 Overwatch League Grand Finals, EVO 2019 Fortnite World Cup, IEM Katowice 2019, League of Legends World Championship 2019, or the International 2019. Probably Fortnite, but I'm just going to go out on a limb and say EVO 2019. What do you guys got?
I'm going Fortnite World Cup just because I remember seeing videos and pictures of that, and I thought it looked insane. How cool
the setup was just nuts on that stuff. So yeah, Fortnite World Cup.
Okay. Esports coach. All right, I don't know any of these guys. So Adrian, Kane, Grabs, Koma, Saksha, or Zonic. I'm going with Zonic because it sounds like Sonic.
That's a good reason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Adrian because his last name is Hogue.
All right, Connor.
It's Zonic. Australis, like I said, they've had a great run this year, so the real answer is Zonic.
Content Creator of the Year. For a streamer or content creator who has made an important and positive impact on the industry in 2019, got Courage, Dr. Lupo, Ewok, Grefk, or Shroud. I think it's Shroud. What about you guys?
Shroud.
Yeah, I think Shroud, but I also think Courage could give him a run for his money.
Yeah, I think it's one of the two to be. Well, honestly, it's Courage, Dr. Lupo, or Shroud is really the only choices. Shroud going to Mixer, that was some big stuff. Courage recently just signed a deal to go to YouTube as an exclusive streamer there, which why anybody wants to stream on YouTube is beyond me.
Money.
And you're right. You're absolutely right. And then Dr. Lupo, I will say that consistently year over year, Dr. Lupo is one of the highest level donators or driving donators in the streaming world. for charities and good causes. So I think Dr. Lupo is a good choice, but man, Shroud's just so damn popular.
All right, best community support, recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness. Apex, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, or Rainbow Six. Connor?
Man. Recognize a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness. I hate all these answers. I'm going to go with Destiny 2.
Joel?
I was actually also going to say Destiny 2 because I feel like ever since they have been released by Activision, they've been very transparent about everything they've done.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was going to give the same reason, and I think Bungie wins as well. Best audio design, recognizing the best in-game audio and sound design. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Control, Death Stranding, Gears 5, Resident Evil 2, or Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Joel?
I'm going to go Death Stranding, just because I heard that like all the sound effects in that game are pretty awesome, like including the rain and stuff like that.
Connor?
Call of Duty, for sure. New engine, new sound design, new sound engine and everything, and it's fantastic. Directional audio is just off the charts this year.
I'm going with Control. I loved all the sounds with the powers and everything. I think they just did an amazing job with all that and the impact stuff. Yeah, I think it will just barely win that one. Best art direction for outstanding creative and/or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. Control, Death Stranding, Grease, Sayonara Wild Hearts, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, or The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Connor?
I'm going with Link's Awakening here. I think pretty much everything else in this category is kind of passé, except for Grease, Sayonara, and Link's Awakening. And to me, Link's Awakening was just the best, hands down.
Joel?
Yeah, I'm also going Link's Awakening.
My heart wants to go with Link's Awakening, but we're going on the fans here, and kind of the same reasoning with the best direction, I think, because Kojima's such a genius that Death Stranding wins. Best action adventure game. For the best action adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving, Borderlands 3, Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, or Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Joel?
I'm going to go with Control.
Connor?
Control, hands down.
I agree. Control. Best action game. For the best game in the action genre, focused primarily on combat. Apex, Astral Chain, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Devil May Cry 5, Gears 5, or Metro Exodus. Connor?
This is a weird category. Shit. So let's go. I'm gonna say Call of Duty. Call of Duty is just real good this year. Fans
Joel?
are gonna vote it.
I'm going to go with Apex just because I feel like that game's real smooth.
Those are two very good decisions. I'm going to go with Devil May Cry 5. I think it's just going to be kind of a dark horse winner here, or Astral Chain, but I'm going with Devil May Cry 5. I think those four could win. Just kind of a toss-up there, but I think Call of Duty has enough that's kind of gone against it with a lot of complaints about the balancing and everything. And Devil May Cry 5 was just an early game that everyone loved the gameplay of. All right, finally, the big one. Game of the Year. Recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, or The Outer Worlds. Joel?
Oh man, I'm gonna preface this by saying if Death Stranding wins this, it's gonna really piss me off.
Me too.
Because if Death Stranding wins this, it's gonna make me believe that this is all rigged.
Mm-hmm.
Because just the way that the game is reviewed, it does not seem like it would be a Game of the Year at this show.
I mean, Jeff Keighley is like Kojima's best friend, if you didn't know.
Yeah, I know.
And he's in the game.
Yeah, super sketch. It's really gonna piss me off if it does. Of these games on this list, I think it's hard, considering I haven't played most of them. But I think it's gonna go to Control.
All right, Connor.
This is incredibly tough for me. This is something I'm deliberating over here as we sit, and I've been playing some of the games. On this list, going with my personal choice, I think that for me it's a contender between Outer Worlds and Control, and I
we're
think
going on what the fans will vote for.
I know personally I think Control deserves it over Outer Worlds, as I really like Outer Worlds, but Control's world building and stuff, like I said, is just incredible. So I think Control's the better, but I really think that Outer Worlds is going to take the title here, just from the fan vote.
All right. I think the fans come out and vote for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Like I was saying earlier when we were talking about fighting games, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a special game. Like, it transcends Nintendo and just the gaming industry. People are so excited every time they hear a new character come to this game. It's been nothing but good praise for the game since it released the day after the Game Awards last year. I think we get another announcement for another fighter at the Game Awards, and I think that Smash Bros. Ends up winning Game of the Year. But personally, I want Control or Outer Worlds to win, but I think Super Smash Bros. Wins it. I've got nothing else to say besides it's just a special game. You just hear about Sakurai talking about how he promised Iwata before he died that he would try and make like the ultimate Smash Brothers game with everyone in it, and then he's just like pulling it off. Like, it's so special.
All right, I think that wraps it up. This has been a very long episode.
Yeah, probably should have started that sooner.
So this has been Pixel Street Podcast, episode 83. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Pixel Street Pod. You'll see us post up there when we're looking for a topic of the show. We also do some giveaways there once we hit certain milestones in terms of followers, so be on the lookout there. Our Facebook, you can find us by searching for Pixel Street Podcast. My name is Joel Campos. You can find myself on Twitter at Campos63 or mixer.com/Campos63. John, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Revek Shadows. You can see me post all of my articles and everything I'm writing about there for quite a few different websites. Or you can look me up on YouTube, search Revek Shadows, or youtube.com/JohnJW92. Check out my Pokemon review video.
All right, Connor, what about you?
I'm on Twitter at The Real Birch. That's Birch like the tree, but without the I. I'm also on Mixer. I stream from time to time as Birch, again with no I, just like the tree. So come check me out, hang out with me. Let's play some video games and keep following the podcast as we get into Game of the Year deliberations.
All right, we will see you right here next week for episode 84. Bye.
Ain't nothing but a heartbreak. Tell me why.